With all the nerdy innuendos of last video, I think it's time to talk about the forgotten Naruto characters. Dog, real quick, who was the most nigga in Naruto? And you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean. Who is the nigga that you thought would be him or her, and for whatever reason, you just suck. You're garbage. I'm seeing a lot of Lees. Fair enough.
Naruto's sidecast is, for the most part, underutilized. And I think
funny enough, he started with Lee and Neji.
Person who watches the anime or reads the manga. Obviously, when I say something like that, I'm not talking about characters like Kakashi, Tsunade, Jiraiya, etc.
100%.
People who grew up with Naruto that don't really.
Yeah, the Konoha 11 or 9, whatever one it was. I think it was 11.
Than just being Naruto.
Or 12, 13.
Well, members of the Konoha 12. Today,
12.
I'm going to take a look at most of the characters I felt were underutilized, and for some of them, I'll give ways that I think they could have been better utilized, either fit the story.
B was kind of, yeah, they could have did better with B. You know what's crazy? Some of these videos are going to be fire. I'm trusting my dog not to go wrong because I reacted to his content once or twice, and he hasn't said anything crazy stupid yet to make me stop. But also, he helped me out. Shout out to Six for real, like no content shit. Shout out to Six, cool nigga. But these videos can get out of hand. I'm scared to do a version like this for Dragon Ball. I heard one time I'm editing or some shit, and I'm letting the YouTube algorithm because I'm zoning it out. I heard one nigga wanted like Pan or Videl. I think it was Videl. They wanted like Videl to like defeat Majin Buu or some shit. And I'm like, we want side characters to be great, but a motherfucker, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, don't just have shit happen now. I don't want Neji beating Naruto for Hokage. I don't want Hinata to end up being able to one-shot Sasuke type shit. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want Killer B to have been the one to and you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate when people go wild with this shit. Underutilization is one thing, but ultimately people forget. And I saw someone say this in my Goku comment section. Thank you, because I didn't think a lot of people would catch it when I talked about Vegeta, and a lot of people say, yo, you don't understand Vegeta. Da, da, da. No, bro, I understand Vegeta, and I would even argue, a main character in the show. But when we get to other side characters in shows, let them be side characters, bro. Okay? Like, there's no reason. There can be dedicated arcs every now and then, fine. But there should be no reason that Mr. Satan is able to get a plot boost to one-shot Whis. Like, come on, bro. He's a side character.
But we'll go over Team Guy, Rock Lee, Neji, and Tenten. Then we'll go over Team 10, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji. Then for the last team, we'll go over Team 8, Hinata, Shino, and Kiba.
Say less.
Video on Hinata, so I want to get to her section. I'm going to keep it fairly brief. I also want to touch on the Kage guards in general, because I think a lot of them just get forgotten, and especially for what they were introduced.
They could have done some with Kage guards, because every time you see them, they just get jobbed. And while they get jobbed, you could at least make it like a hard fight. Like Sasuke kind of just looked at bro weird. And mind you, his whole thing is genjutsu and scouting and shit, and he just got diffed. It's like you could have shown Sasuke having to work hard to put him under a genjutsu type shit.
The person I want to talk about is Rock Lee, and this is something I should have brung up in my video on him. But Lee is often used as a power up for other characters, and he's never really given the chance
that's kind of true.
Showcase his full power on his own. So for example, he would fight like alongside characters or help
that's kind of
defeat an
true.
opponent, but never have his own major battles. A very good example.
Well, he fought himself that one time.
Maru, because Lee came in versus Maru. And then Gaara had to come in order to, you know, clean Shikamaru up. However, there was already written into the story at that point that Shikamaru was sick and his body was deteriorating. So you could have it.
You could have just had Lee win.
Lee and Shikamaru are weakening as the fight goes on. Lee because he's getting beaten up. Shikamaru because he has to keep beating Lee up, and Lee's obviously not going to give up and concede the fight.
Yeah, you could have done a 1x decrease versus a 2x decrease thing, and it had Lee win. You could have definitely did that.
Gaara could just assist Lee rather than taking over the fight completely.
Gaara did show up and kind of like, I mean, he would have died, but like dominated the fight.
Lee is very loved. He's always been very loved, at least as far as I've been a part of the Naruto franchise and Naruto community.
Right.
So Lee being very loved, maybe give him a big moment. Give him a good role. Give him a way to fight alongside these people, but actually fight alongside these people. Next, we agree there. Talk about Tenten, but to be honest, this section is going to be fairly.
I gotta hear this to believe it. I ain't gonna lie. Tenten pulling up, and I ain't gonna lie. I seen Swag say it. Shout out to that nigga too, bro. Tenten was fine when it was about accuracy, when kunais and shit was deadly. But one, when that was no longer a factor, you GG'd your character. But two, I don't want her to have a glow up. And that sounds mean. That may sound misogynistic because she happens to be a woman. No, ain't nothing to do with that. Except a smidge bit because she was sucking the skin off this nigga Neji dick at the exam. Bro, do y'all remember Tenten at the tuning exams, dog? Please, someone tell me. Do y'all remember how annoying Tenten was during the tuning exams, bro? Holy shit. Naruto's great, but Neji's just greater. Well, you can't outsmart Neji. You can't outlook Neji. You can't hide from Neji. Neji, like, shut up!
Tenten never really does anything. I mean, she obtains the Sage of Six Paths tools. She gets a chance to be useful at the end of the manga.
That you're not gonna write weapons strong enough for that verse.
Kisame with a bomb, but Tenten never really does anything indicative of you wanting more of Tenten, if you get what I mean. So, I mean, you know, just make Tenten a little bit more useful. She's a weapons specialist. We don't really have a weapons specialist in the verse.
And that's the problem.
She was able to throw like 1,000 kunai at Tamari. And I know
the closest thing we see is like the 1,000 paper bombs. But the thing is, that took insane prep time. Like I said, at some point, and even it didn't work. At some point, weapons become, like, I don't want to say completely obsolete. Obviously, they end up sealing people, other shit, but you kind of nerf the fuck out of weapons and then you try to reinstall how significant they can be in Boruto. Yeah, when you wrote the show that way, to where throwing a kunai was nothing more than like an afterthought or like a, hey, press X to dodge type shit. Someone brings up the 7 ninja swordsmen, whatever, but they were more than just that. Kasame's one of them, and that nigga, he's more than just swinging a sword around. The nigga actually has like a lot of jutsu behind it. Same thing with Zabuza, the two that we mainly see. Even the dude in Bort that we see, like they're more than just, hey, I have a sword, I'm allowed to use it. First of all, the sword itself is different, and second of all, even if the sword itself wasn't different, they have abilities to coincide with that. Tenten quite literally is just weapons. Like, no, like, what? How many jutsus did Tenten use in the series? Like, she's just weapons. And when you take away the significance of weapons, BG's.
When Kisame happened to ambush them, it was really Guy and Neji versus Kisame. You know, have the whole team get involved and have them actually do something useful. And that's not even too much to ask for. You know, you have Kisame getting beaten anyway and none of the team members dying. Just have him get beaten in a different way and it's still just as fine. The kids could even set up Guy for his 6th gate assault on Kisame.
Right.
And I think that would have been cool. Overall, while I might not like Neji the most or too much, at least as not as most people seem to like Neji, I still think he was underutilized. Like
yeah, I'll cat out the bag. This isn't me agreeing with Streamer Man here, but I ain't gonna lie. I do think Neji is like the most overloved character in the show. I know that's not a common term. That just sounds like hate. I don't want to say overrated because people don't like think of Neji. Well, shit. Let me not say that. I don't even necessarily think he's overrated though, but I just don't get why everybody love this nigga. I guess nigga died to a branch. Nigga died to a tree. All right. Nigga died to Life Weaver ult. Like, I said, fucking care. Fucking dope in part 1, so maybe that's where it is. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug.
We know Neji's a prodigy because Lee tells us, but then he's always clashing with Sasuke. Not necessarily physically. I don't think they really ever physically interact.
They don't.
But Kakashi says that he doesn't even think Sasuke could beat Neji.
We were robbed of that fight, and this is gonna sound fanficky as hell. We were robbed of that fight, and it easily could have been written in. There's always an argument that rather than getting held up on a sound for one by one, and I haven't heard anybody say this, so this is genuinely my idea. There is a compelling case that you could have had an essential everybody splitting off to fight the sound 4 shit, or like to find Sasuke. They didn't all go in one line, and as a result, we could have gotten a Neji Sasuke fight. Rather than Naruto finding Sasuke first, it was actually Neji or some shit. Because we've heard about this fight time in and time out. It was compared to Sasuke time in and time out. We could have actually, I feel that fight could have genuinely been written in. I feel like there's one fight that actually you could argue we got robbed of, and you could legit argue how to write it in. I think this is an easy fight to write in.
Most of the interest in Neji comes from Neji's fighting ability, and then that's the same thing with Sasuke very early on. That's a great way to have those characters clash. You don't want.
Yeah, that's also true. You can't have Neji lose to Naruto earlier on and then just Sasuke gets cucked by him. Obviously, at that point, you would illustrate that Sasuke is stronger than him. So I don't know. Maybe you do that corny shit when Naruto kicks Neji in the head like he kicked Gaara type shit. But yeah, nah. Either way, there would still be intrigue by the fight because ultimately Neji gets stronger, at least mentally. So
that's pretty much it for Team Guy, because Guy himself isn't really underutilized.
Oh yeah, Guy's fine. Guy's fine.
Almost perfectly within the story. The
only thing you could have had Guy do is full on fan service. Hey, Kakashi, 1v1 me.
Take down Madara. But not only do I not really agree with that, it's not something I really want to touch on. I also don't think I forgot about it, but I also don't want to touch on the whole Neji was right, Naruto, Destiny, blah, blah, blah. I really don't want to touch on that stuff, and I don't think it's too important.
It's not true. Fuck that.
Video. Maybe I'll touch on
Neji was not right. Different video, but Neji was not right.
Moving on to Shikamaru and his team, I think that
it's an irony thing, but he's not completely right.
But I think he could have been utilized more. Where Shikamaru was crying, playing game of shogi with his dad.
Right.
And I think that's really cool, but that's not in the manga at all. And I think it would have been really cool to see, especially, you know, in Kishimoto's art style. Shikamaru is also really like most of the other characters I've mentioned so far. But his laid-back personality at least gives some merit to him being underutilized, him being sort of lazy.
That scene is really good. That's not in the manga.
I think the scene in the Chunin exams, or Konoha Crush, if you want to get technical, where he was holding off all those sound ninja and then Asuma showed up in order to help him. I thought that was pretty cool. His fight with Toyuyu was also pretty cool. Him being the first of the Konoha, I think that's my favorite Sound 4 fight. Chunin, and lead a squad. It's all really cool. He's got pretty cool moments. Like I said,
I don't think he was
underutilized. Is utilized pretty well, and even if you get into Boruto, Shikamaru is used pretty good there too. So
I'm not gonna ruin it. Oh, never mind.
Consistently like a useful in the background type of character, and it really fits his role that he plays in Boruto as well. I don't have all too much to say about Ino. She's really in the background a lot, and I don't really know of any way that could change.
Yeah. Y'all are gonna call me crazy. If anything, get on the author himself, because he kind of writ Ino too. Ino's problem is she was dangerously comparable to Sakura, and then because she's a side character to a side-ish, main-ish character, there's only so much you could do with her. The compromise is you could just take what my first half of the sentence very plainly. You could have had Ino essentially be Sakura's rival throughout the entire time. You could have just kept that going. The problem is she's a side character. so like her being as strong wouldn't really have mattered at all. Also, her jutsu itself kind of like, unless you were gonna have her evolve it, it's kind of just like once she does it, all right, GG's. But once the ninjas get smart enough to counter that shit, there we go. Fuck what I was saying earlier, to tell you the truth. Main problem with Ino, outside of like, yeah, you could have written her to be as strong as Sakura. The problem kicks in when you realize, yo, like, you're going against Jonin. That body swap shit, 2 seconds we figure it out. Fuck it. I ain't gonna lie. Fuck my comrade, kill the body, A. B, fuck my comrade, kill both bodies. Or C, oh, she changed minds. All right, let's find a way to make her side mad. Because you can't have Ino 1v1 motherfuckers all the fucking time, because her mind transfer jutsu, she kills herself. I think she goes with the woo, right? So her jutsu was flawed to begin with. It was great when niggas were kids. It was great when the villains weren't like that. But when you got Madara level threats, Itachi level threats, Obito level threats, mind you, all three of them niggas have a literal Sharingan in their goddamn eyes. Yeah, it's not even a power cliff. It's an IQ cliff. It's like niggas ain't falling for that shit no more.
What I would give to Ino in order for her
only thing you could give her is taijutsu prowess to rival Sakura, maybe.
Choji's utilized pretty well.
Yeah, Choji's cool.
Kind of just like Shikamaru. I mean, he helps out in the fight with Pain. He obviously helped out with the sound.
They make him rely on Ino Shikacho a little too much, though.
He fought the ghetto statue alongside his dad. He helped out in the fight with Kakuzu. Choji's just pretty cool. He's okay.
They make him rely on others too much to me.
Other situations, Choji could be utilized, but I think it's cool enough that he was utilized this way that I don't feel like I have to complain about it, if you get what I mean. And I don't really want to bring up Kurenai for this because I plan to make a video on females in Naruto, and she's one of the people I kind of want to focus on a little bit in that.
Yeah, I'm about to say, see, I'm glad he said it. Now we get to Karunai yet again. You put her against arguably the smartest guy in the verse, one of the best genjutsu specialists in the verse, while herself is a genjutsu specialist. So at that point, it's like, damn.
At least more than I would focus on her here, so I don't really want to bring her up. Shino is cool. Shino's utilized.
I fuck with Shino, yeah.
And can be utilized.
Yeah, Shino's fine.
The only other thing I could see Shino getting that he didn't already have is like Torine, whenever Torine touched Obito and infected his arm with bugs.
Yeah, that's the only power up.
That doesn't even really fit Shino's style. Shino takes down.
Yeah, then you're making him attack. Yeah, I agree, 100%. Shino's fine. Shino's fine.
Exams, fights. He's just overall, he's pretty well utilized. I just felt like, he could have given more.
And we ain't seen Shino lose a fight.
Brief, like I said, I would in the intro.
Hinata's fine.
I really just felt like Hinata should have given more in the overall story. Like I said, during Pain's assault, she didn't really do anything. Although
she could have not got jobbed, I'll give you that. She could have put up a somewhat decent fight, maybe a jutsu that Pain didn't expect or some shit. She could have did something better than just get dogged around, because at some point she just becomes Naruto's side piece or main piece, but I think Hinata's fine. I'll probably disagree with him here.
If you read the manga, Hinata genuinely does nothing the entire Pain assault until she goes and dies versus Pain, or pseudo dies versus Pain, whenever she tries to save Naruto.
What is she supposed to do?
Sakura heals her. She does some stuff in the war arc, but like I said, she generally could have just been utilized better. She has the Byakugan and everything. There's tons of different things you can write in to make
fair enough. If you could have made, if people are gonna do what is for Neji, you could have done what is for Hinata. Fair enough, because even their fight, it was relatively close, but Neji hit the chakra points first. Like that fight was given off the entire time as a, well, it's a matter of who hits who first. So fair enough, I'll say that. You could have easily written the story as Hinata trying to catch up to Neji, and in the one triumphant moment in a fight. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Kiba, and I don't really know. It's like an Ino situation. I don't really know how.
If you're familiar with Lenko on the channel, Lenko's favorite character is Kiba. Don't ask why or how or when that be. His favorite character is Kiba. I got nothing. I don't know how you, I mean, you've written yourself into a Fang over Fang beast clone thing. Maybe you just make the Fang stronger, the Fang bigger, or I don't fucking know, the beast clone thing more prominent. Maybe he gets another dog. Nigga just has a bunch of pups walking around. But you wrote the character as I could be Kage 2 type of nigga. You know, you writ him like Yamcha, so you knew what it was.
Like I said, same thing with Ino. I don't really know how I would utilize this guy better.
Agreed.
Now, the Kage guards in general, you have to bring up people
make them look stronger even if they lose. It's easy.
Kankuro, they're all utilized pretty well, but the other ones, like Al's better utilized in Boruto than he ever was in Naruto. Chojuro, same thing in Boruto, he's much better. They don't really do anything, and I feel like it's because they were introduced too late in the story without
That's fair.
a direct conflict with anybody.
That's probably the reason. I agree. That's just true. You can't have a character tell me they're strong, try to showcase me they're strong, but then they're gonna go against one of the strongest niggas in the verse. Like, ideally, yes, I would sound like I'm contradicting myself because you could see the strength, but then it's at that point, you've written Sasuke into a wall where, hey, the niggas gonna try to 1v5, but he can't even beat the bodyguards. Well, someone said Sasuke got watched by Killer Bee. Killer Bee was the 8 tails, and we knew of the 9 tails. So technically, Killer Bee was a slightly weaker Naruto at base, but like had more mastery of the Biju. Nah, that ain't a problem. That ain't no problem wiping that out. And also, technically, Sasuke won the fight. I just have no interest in Darby. Like, he's cool. I just don't care about the nigga.
Chojuro cuts Zetsu in half, and for the life of me, I cannot think of what Kurosuchi did that would lead me to believe, oh, she's going to be the Kage in the future.
That's a good point. She kind of just is.
And it's really like their characters weren't probably set up for that sequel, I feel like. That's pretty much all I have to say. Obviously, you should check out the Wonder app. I have it linked in my description.
Nope, no, stop right there. But nah, that's a good point. Yeah, she just becomes her, and I'm like, huh? Naruto side characters for the most part, if they're not a woman, they're fine to me. But there's definitely some people that you want to see be fleshed out better. Obviously, Neji could have still been strong. Rock Lee could have not just been Guy Jr. Even though you writ him as Guy Jr. from the start, you could have had him have his, hell, you could have even given him a personality arc where it's like, I'm not just Guy Jr. It's like you could have did something. You could have did something with that. Outside of the women, they were fine. That nigga just fucked up the women. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.